It was
With that, we are in fact live. Bobby and
hello,
I,
hello, hello.
hello everybody, welcome everyone. Bobby and I were basically talking about the end of the world, and
Oh
as we
shoot.
know it, it's the end of the world as we know it.
Right.
Spin, what do you mean Pac-Man is no more? What do you mean by this? This is
Oh, that is not true at all.
what's going on with this? It's just there's something very special that I was trying to share with you guys last week. And I've spent the last 7 days working extremely hard, and I'm not even finished. And so I was going to share it with you guys again today. And, come on, man. Don't say rest in peace. Be positive, you guys. You know what, Spin? Just for you, if you notice now, I put the Christmas lights up here. So I've got Christmas all around the year. Just for you, buddy. Let's get the light on here and really. You see what I put right here so that it is always visible to you, Spin? That right there is in fact the XV3080, okay? Also known as pack pipes, okay? I put it right there just for you, buddy, okay? So don't give me this Pac-Man is no more business, all right? That's negative. That's a negative vibe. We don't want that here, okay? You don't want to make me, where is it? I don't even use this button. I don't even know where the button is, but don't make me mad. Um, all right.
We're just messing with you, Spin.
What's that?
I said we're just messing with Spin.
Yeah, we're messing with you, Spin. To avoid confusion, Tommy Tallarico's studio, A.K. Todd Desmond, worked on the first game. David Aaron Logan did the second one. That is correct. That is 100% correct. Yes, the Tallarico Studios did Pac-Man World, and I did Pac-Man World 2. And there's a little bit of a funny story. One year, I was at GDC and I was hanging out with Tommy. We were just sort of talking life, and he's like, "So, man, what are you working on these days, Logan?" And I was like, "Oh, this is awkward." And he's like, "What?" I'm like, Pac-Man World 2. He's like, "So you're the fucker that got that." I'm like, "I'm the fucker, I'm the fucker that got that." Yeah, kind of a funny story. Anyway, um, look, Spin, I mean, unless you guys all start a GoFundMe and pay me every week to consistently do Pac-Man every week, I want to enjoy myself. Am I not allowed to enjoy myself? I don't know, man. I'm not liking this.
So Tales of Destiny led to Pac-Man, right? That
That
was
is
your
exact.
audition,
Think of it like the origin story. This is the
right?
origin story. I did this, they were impressed, and then I got offered Pac-Man World 2. So what do you want? This is the origin story. This is what I did to impress them. But look, I also found a remastered 4K version. Most of the time I spent on this during the week was learning how to use Final Cut Pro because the person who did the remaster changed the edits. So it no longer synchronized perfectly with what I wrote.
Oh
So they
wow.
literally chopped up, all the remastering was done, but they moved things around. So I literally had to go learn Final Cut. I've had it for like 5 years, never used it. I was going to call Bobby to do it. I even prepared a cue sheet for him and everything. And then I was just like, come on, Logan, how hard can this be? And it was also like 2 o'clock in the morning. I was super excited about it. And I'm just like, fuck it. And so I worked all through the night and I got it done. And it wasn't as hard as I thought. Anyway, but nonetheless, I still have put a lot of work into it. So yeah. Anyway, I know it's a joke, Spin. We got nothing but love on this channel. Um, is that a new camera angle? If so, it looks nice. It is
I
not a
think they're
new camera
talking about
angle, but I'm
right.
so glad that you noticed. I decided, okay, should I? Yeah, I mean, we're talking about authenticity here, so we always talk about, be authentic. Does that even work? That doesn't work here, so I got to do this. There we are. Right. Okay, so I'm going to be authentic here. This is partly Bobby's fault anyway.
Oh,
Um,
right.
yes, this is a new angle, and it's not a new angle. Sorry, it's It's the same equipment from the two monoliths over there. I've just rearranged things. I've also moved the virus off of my desk, moved it over there. I moved the JP8080 up here, and it's all connected. Which, wait a second here, where on earth would that be? Here it is. Everything's connected. So these are not props, you guys. Hell no. Oh, am I like in the wrong thing here? I am in the wrong thing here. I see. Let me get the right connections going here. Yeah, we'll take a minute and talk about this because I'm really excited about it. What am I doing here? Right, I'm looking here, and I'm looking here, and I'm looking here. There we go.
Yeah, I guess it was my fault that David
It's all
had to
Bobby's
move
fault.
had to move the rack and everything.
There it is. It's all hooked up. It's all hooked up, man, and ready to go. The filter is just absolutely insane. To be fair, I'm running it through a decapitator, like a saturation / distortion unit, which increases all the harmonics of the filter and the resonance, right? All right, so basically, I don't remember how Bobby and I were talking about the MKS80, but we were, and I mentioned the Rick Beato video with Hans Zimmer, and Hans Zimmer is sitting in front of not one, but 6 Super Jupiter MKS80s and 2 MPG80s. These sound like weapons from like Counter-Strike or something, right? MPG80s, and I used to own 2 Super Jupiter MKS80s and 2 MPG80s, and 5 AK-47s. No, I'm joking. They sound like weapons, right? So when I saw the Hans Zimmer interview, it literally broke my heart because the only thing I ever regret selling in my life was the MKS80 Super Jupiter. It's the only thing I regret selling. So I bought one again. It's arriving next week, and I'm so excited about it. This was sort of like, this is like often called, not often called, but some people call it the poor man's MKS80, which is the JP8080. It's a digital version of the MKS80. Anyway, but when I looked at the interview, I thought to myself, yeah, that looks so cool. Hans Zimmer with the Jupiters behind him. And, you know, guys, you know, I'm vain. I'm a absolutely regular human being. I have envy and jealousy, and, you know, I have very low self-esteem. So sometimes I do things to make myself feel better. What do you want? I'm normal. I'm a regular guy, you know? So yeah, this is not a new angle per se. It's the same angle, but I did move things around. I also got the Pac-Man by the ring light there, so it looks like he's eating the dots. See that? A lot of thought went into that, guys. I don't know if you picked up on that. Did you pick up on that? And I tried making those dots yellow because I can change the color. It just didn't look good. I didn't like the way it looked. So he's not eating yellow dots. He's, I guess for the stream, I can turn them yellow, yeah? Let's see here. Where are we here? All right, let's do that. Just for today's stream, we're going to make them yellow. Where are we here? Yellow. And is that turning yellow? Yeah. See, it doesn't look good. It just doesn't think it looks good. It looks better like either red. That's not horrible, but that's green. Yeah, the yellow just doesn't look good. I guess I could turn the brightness down. Maybe that would help.
Right. I was gonna say.
Yeah. No, but does it look yellow?
Then they fade away.
Yeah. Anyway, whatever. We'll leave it like that. Oh wait, I put it back apparently. But anyway, it's fine. It's fine. So Yeah, so this is not a new angle per se. It's just the same angle, but it's just I decided to put some of the lights behind me because it looks damn cool. What do you want, man? Not that
Right.
anyone's complaining because you're not.
Isn't it easier to reach tune?
For actually filter sweeping, absolutely.
Right.
Like if I'm doing this,
Ergonomically, it's better for you.
it's way easier to do this.
Right.
It's also why I have this guy right here. This controls all my Roland plugins. It's why it's
Okay.
literally one of the closest things to my mouse, right?
Right.
Because yeah, I need it to be close at hand. But yeah, this is way, way easier because here I literally, I can't, you know, it's not reachable. Even over here, this is a bit of a stretch. I have to like lean
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is super. And you want to know what? The audio is not even hooked up. That is just MIDI controlling the plug-in version of this, which
Wow.
the same guys that did the virus did
Right.
this.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, the usual suspects. And I have decided, hate is a very strong word, but I hate analog purist people who say, oh, the real thing is better than the plug-in. It's not. It's exactly the same. On analog plugins, yeah, there's a slight difference. I've heard it and I've noticed it, but on a digital synth, there's no difference. It's like literally exactly the same. So, because it's a
I
digital
mean, I
chip.
think it all. I I don't like the conversation at all because if you're making music, no one's listening to those differences.
That's right.
You know,
Well,
are you here to make a good song or are you here to analyze
that's what I always
if,
say.
which one sound, fuck off,
I always say that if there's a person who can actually hear the difference between the real JP80 and the plug-in version, they're sitting there with oscilloscopes and,
Right.
sound measuring tools, and, they're not actually making music. They spend their life in oscilloscopes. They don't
Right.
spend their
But
life.
that's true for many for many, I don't know, I guess they're professions. Like you see that in forums all over the place for cameras.
Sure.
You know, everybody wants to like analyze the details and
Yeah,
it's
and
like, did
show
you
that
take a
they're
good photo?
correct.
Right.
It's somebody once said this to me. I can't remember who, but they said to me that there are two kinds of people in the world: those that can admit that they're wrong and they're happy, and those who can never admit they're wrong and they must prove that they are always right and they're miserable.
Right.
I not only do I admit when I'm wrong, it's a pleasure, you know. It's a
Right.
pleasure because for me, being wrong is an opportunity for learning. Like
That's exactly it. Yeah.
it's a pleasure to be wrong.
Yeah.
And I think my favorite feeling in the world, and I'm not like, this is not virtue signaling or anything, but it's a real pleasure when I see a delighted look on somebody's face who's sort of combative, ready to argue their point to the death. And I say, oh, you're right. I'm so sorry. You're right. I didn't see it that way. And they're like,
Right.
okay. Because I'm a lover. I'm not a fighter. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to love. Everything I do is with love. And oh, right, my big love thing. Oh, this works. Okay, good. My big love thing. It didn't sound very good. For reference, this is what I meant by my big love thing. Okay. And just, we like to keep it clean on this channel, guys. My
Right.
big love thing. My God, no one's going to let me live that down, are they? There's going to be memes in our Discord. My big love thing. Anyway, let's see what else did we. Can't wait for the. I don't know if I'll do an asteroid stream. Maybe I will.
Yeah. Why not?
We could, sure. Hey, David. Hello, Newman. Hello, Jasmine. Everyone's saying hello. I ignored you all. I'm sorry. I think it's nice to change it up a bit. I agree. Sure. Hello, Nick. The DAL origin story with Namco, at least, My real
Right.
origin story as a game composer is Pitfall 3D.
Pitfall. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be
I'm
a
interested.
fun
Sorry?
breakdown too. But I said that would be a fun breakdown too. I just don't know how we would even,
The Pitfall 3D?
right?
Well, what I did, so Pitfall 3D was streaming interactive MIDI music.
Yeah.
Okay, so there was no wave. There were waves for the FMVs, cutscenes, and stuff. But what I did, there's a proprietary Sony format. I mean, I signed the NDA 30 years ago, so I can probably talk about it now.
I'm sure it's fine.
They don't even use them anymore. Anyway, they were called VAGs and VABs. And the VABs were banks, and the VAGs were the individual sample instruments you could make. Anyway, I converted all of that from proprietary Sony format into, or back into the waves and the SEQ files that then were turned back into standard MIDI files. Anyway, long story short, I imported all that, brought it into Logic, so I can actually show you the. We could do that, yeah. I mean,
That could be fun one day too.
yeah, we did talk about the fact that we want to turn this stream more into like a, not just a strictly Pac-Man, but more like a game composer's podcast kind of thing. So
Right.
I think it's good. I think it's healthy that we're not always talking about Pac-Man. I'll tell you what, I'll still leave this in the corner up there, the Pac-Man in the upper corner there. We'll still leave that on. And let's see here. Oh, make sure it's over here as well. There it is. All right. For the foreseeable future, we'll do that. So yes, I'm interested to hear about your experience on Tales of Destiny. I mean, it was incredible. Pre-pack pipes. I mean, that is true. It is pre-pack pipe. Play the 3080. Well, Mr. Spin, you're going to be so disappointed, but the 5080 is the 3080. It's the same synth. It's just they added more stuff, basically. They added double the banks, new sounds, new samples, and not only that, the 3080, 2080, and 1080 were all strictly synthesizers, whereas the 5080, they turned it into a full-fledged synth with sampler. So they basically took the Roland 760 idea, combined it with the 3080 to make the 5080. And so I know for nostalgia, you want to see the lights flickering there, but because I have the 5080, I literally never, and there's no controller on here, right? It's just a synth, right? The reason the JP8080 is hooked up and is controlling is because like all the parameters are needed, and there's a whole programming section, so I can program everything from here. All you can do is just change sounds here. So I would do that in the plugin. So it used to be hooked up when it was over in the other rack. It had the MIDI and audio and everything, but now it has nothing. So, but the way this rack is going to work is that I still have to do this, but I do want audio coming out of everything. So I'm going to I decided though, I'm going to keep it really super simple. Just 2 MIDI cables, 2 audio cables, basta. But as you can see, everything has power. So basta in Italian means enough. Or stop, or like basta così is like leave it this way or leave it that way. So posso parlare in italiano infatti, ma non posso esprimere me stesso in italiano perché mai praticare in italiano e anche la mia ragazza sempre mi parli in inglese. So I can speak it, but I don't, my understanding is so bad. I don't understand.
You say your girlfriend speaks to you in English.
She speaks in English, yeah. She never speaks Italian. So it's all her fault. It's very convenient.
It is, yeah. If she were to speak to you in Italian and force you to reply and respond in Italian, that would switch your brain.
That's right.
Yeah. Especially if you watch like Italian movies and
what's that?
TV. Especially if you watch Italian movies and TV shows, like
put yourself in. You know what? I got enough in life to worry about, and I don't really need Italian living in Italy.
So that's the thing. Yeah,
I'm a hermit. I never leave the house. Anyway,
and you have enough to say how much is this and where's the bathroom.
Yeah, I can. I know that. I know. Dove il
Right.
bagno? Where's the bathroom? Quanto
Right.
costa per questa? How much is it for that? Oh, those filters are delicious. They really are. Um, anyway, so the whole analog versus digital, the whole plug-in versus hardware, there is definitely something to be said for analog synths, okay? And especially the MKS80, which I'll be getting next week. Because as I was telling the guy who I bought it from, the Juno 106 Roland's plugin, I spent about a day or two, or maybe even a week, just sort of recreating all of my favorite sounds that I kind of remember from back in the day. It sounds exactly like, pretty much like 95%, which is good enough for me, of like what I had back in the day. With my H3000, when I got the plugin, same thing. I spent like, a week kind of recreating, some of my
Right.
favorite sounds, and it sounds great. And, the with the MKS80, first of all, there's the version 4, the version 5, which may as well be different synths altogether, neither of which sound exactly like a Jupiter 8. So the Jupiter 8 plugin from Roland, which is the closest to the MKS80, I couldn't do it. I tried. I tried to recreate some of my favorite sounds, and they just didn't quite translate. So so the good news is I kept all of my where the hell are they? Oh, these guys here. I even, oops, I took them out of storage even. These are the storage cartridges. You can see how
Wow.
giant size these are, massive. These are the sound cartridges. And when I sold my Super Jupiter, I didn't sell my sounds because, excuse me, oh, that must have been
Bless you.
very pleasant for you guys, huh? I never sold my cards because why would I? I sort of knew one day I'd kind of get one again. I always sort of had a feeling I'd get, because I sold them to move to Italy because they charge you by the weight, how much weight
Right.
you send over, right? And the MKS80 is like, I think it's like, I don't know, like 20 pounds, 25 pounds maybe. It's really heavy, like really, really heavy. So,
At least.
all right, let's see what else. I'm interested to hear about your experiences on Tales of Destiny. Was there something in particular, Newman, that you were wanting to hear about? Let's see. Analog purists suck. I agree. Yeah, it's like, are you making music, or are you going to debate me on whether the Rev 4 versus Rev 5 MKS80 is better? Like, who fucking cares? What music are you making? Back in the day, I owned both a Rev 4 and a Rev 5. Believe it or not, I felt the Rev 4 was a little bit more out of tune with itself. So, for lack of a better word, it felt a little bit more dirty, a little more raw analog sound. And the Rev 5 was a little bit smoother and controlled. So let's see, the VSTs don't sound too different. Yeah, they don't. Pretty faithful since it uses the actual chip. Correct. I mean, it's a perfect model of an existing chip, especially the usual suspects. The virus is digital. That's a digital synth. The JP8080, that's a digital synth. It's not analog. Big Love thing. Yeah, right? The Big Love. All right. I tried converting Pitfall 3D music into a playable format, but I failed. Of course you failed. It's not possible. For years I would get emails like, where can I get the Pitfall 3D soundtrack? I can't extract it from the game. And I'd always answer the emails because the only way you can hear that soundtrack is to play it in the game, because it's truly interactive music. So the music and the game engine are truly interacting with the player's actions, which
Right.
was very uncommon for back then.
But
Okay,
now it's available on all your major streaming platforms.
but it is, yes. So you know what I
Right.
did is I essentially fired it up. I turned off the voiceover. I turned off the sound effects and just recorded the output of my PlayStation 1. And then I just played for 10 minutes. I mean, the original composer playing the game for 10 minutes, and whatever happened, happened. And then I stopped after exactly 10 minutes. And so each level, I have 10 minutes of whatever happened while I played. And it's on all streaming platforms, so you can go download it now. Remember a little tangent about those who analyze those sounds are insane. Well, yeah, but there's good insane, Nick, and there's bad insane, right? Jeffrey Dahmer, that's like not the good kind of insane. Bobby and I are like, right? Bobby and I are the good kind of insane people. So you're a little insane, right, Bobby? A little bit?
A little bit at times.
Maybe less than me. I don't know, but I think you're a little bit. Also, to catch another one of those streams after missing the past few. Yeah, it's great to have you here, Newman. Great to have everybody here. Really nice to see everybody. Let's see. I'd love to hear more about all those awesome games you scored, David. Super excited. Well, Jasmine, I mean, if you have some specific questions for me, I mean, just, feel free to ask, guys. I'm always happy to answer. I can understand what you said because I'm a native, a native Spanish speaker can easily interpret the relative Latin.
When you spoke in Italian.
So yeah, because they're Romance Latin-based languages. Yeah. I mean, even perché, that's the same. Qui, I think, is also in Spanish. Quando is also the same in Spanish as it is in Italian. Okay, let's see. But yeah, it's like music. You don't want to understand it because you're David Logan and you only need your own influence. Well, yeah, I think, it's interesting. I always talk about this, about, when does a composer step into their own sound, and, I think that, I think it's when you stop listening to other people's music, like I don't listen to other people's music. I don't analyze other people's music. I just, and I stopped copying other composers, and I eventually just, started copying my old ideas, which, you might think that's like lame, but maybe it is. But yeah, it's an interesting topic of conversation. Just in general, you talking about Tales of Destiny and your work on it. Yeah, well, I mean, let's fire it up now. How about that?
Yeah, let's check it out.
Let's go ahead here. I'll share, or no, wait, I will not share the screen. I will simply do that, right? Yes.
There you go, and I will highlight you.
And there.
Okay.
Excellent. All right, so here we are. This is the session. And let's go ahead and here's the remastered 4K version. So we'll get that kind of relatively front and center here. And I will start it from the top. By the way, this is work in progress. There's a lot of things that are not working so well, but here we go. There it is. It's like, first of all, I got to just some immediate reactions here. Um, what I'm doing by um, the fact that oops, oh, weird. There it is. Okay, it was just not working. Now it's working. Okay. Um, how I'm going through getting the old MIDI data, right? And then I'm bringing that back into Logic and I'm assigning better sounds to it. I'm improving the
Right.
mix and, I'm bringing it into the 21st century. Somebody did the same thing with this Tales of Destiny, right? They literally went through frame by frame, right? And they redrew everything on top of the original. And it's exactly the same as what I'm doing. It's the remastering. It's incredible. And obviously, like anime and anime culture in Japan, it's such a strong culture, right? And
Yeah.
so somebody obviously loved this Tales of Eternia. By the way, it was called Tales of Eternia in Japan and Tales of Destiny in America. I think because of He-Man, because He-Man has like a place called Eternia, I think, in the He-Man universe. And apparently there was some,
Okay.
lawsuit between Namco in Japan and Mattel Toys or whatever it was. Anyway, that's why there's two different names, Tales of Destiny. It was originally called Tales of Eternia in Japan. Anyway, like I said last week, like to be able to, be a Western composer and get to work on something this beautiful, like it's breathtakingly beautiful. Like especially
Yeah.
when I see it in 4K, it's just like, like when the girl puts down the bale of hay and looks over her shoulder with her little cute eyes. I mean, that is like beautiful. Like it's like, holy cow, wait, where is it? Let me see here. Oh yeah, like how unbelievably adorable is she? Like, wait a second, wait for it. There it is. Yeah, I mean, she's beautiful. Oh, like I swear to God, every time I see that particular frame, I don't know what it is. Something in me, I just like, I gush. I adore. I've like fallen in love with an animated character. And it's
How
not
did
so
you get
far.
that initial job with Namco? How did that first meeting go?
The first meeting with Namco,
That
well,
was with
like,
Yas, right?
say again.
That was also with Yas, right?
Yes, same team, Glenn and
Okay.
Yoss. So yeah, essentially, it's like everything else. It was, well, first of all, they explained to me why they were approaching me specifically because the Japanese composer, who I guess he had written a song, um,
Right.
the composer in Japan, he didn't want. I guess it was probably about money, and he didn't give rights to Namco Home Tech, which is the North American office. He didn't give them the rights to use that music. Neither he had two songs, one for the opening cutscene, which you just saw, and the other for the end credits. So they were just kind of explaining that they needed an American composer, blah blah blah, because of licensing things, and who knows, whatever. So, and then they explained to me, a little bit about the game, and yeah, it was like I don't recall honestly. It was because I think I started working on this in like 98 or 99 or something like that.
And they reached out to you? They came and found you, or you?
That's it's a basically they found me through a guy who was kind of acting like my agent basically,
Okay.
and so they contacted him, and then he brought it to me, and then you know turned it over to Yas and Glenn, and
Right.
that's where I got to know Yas and I got to know Glenn, and yeah, I mean, when I was in LA, there were a couple of people who acted on my behalf. One of which was his name, what was his name? He's a big agent now. I think Bob Starr was his name. Anyway, and the thing is, like, I eventually realized my clients didn't want to deal with an agent. Back then, it was like a direct thing, right? Because I remember
Right.
specifically, like, it was I signed with the other agent. I think in between Asteroids and X-Men Mutant Academy, and I remember Jay kind of calling me and saying, like, who the fuck is this guy? And I was like, he's my agent. He's like, well, I don't want to talk to him, man. I want to talk to you, David. The
Right.
reason I want to work with you is because I like you. I like working with you. I like talking with you. I don't want to go through another guy. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I'll fire him today. And I did. you know. Now, what I didn't realize in the long term is that was a really big mistake. Um,
Mm.
because now and that's sort of in a way like kind of how in the long run, I lost in the AAA space, but which I don't regret. But kind of after Pac-Man World 2, I mean, there was only really Heroes Over Europe. That's the only, and that was with Ubisoft. That's only because Yas was working on that, right? So he called me
Mm.
for Heroes Over
Okay.
Europe, right? Because he knew me. And a lot of the Activision guys sort of went off and did other things. And then the only other kind of thing I really did was the Captain America, but that's not triple A. It's, it was iPhone, iPad, but it was an official Captain America that got released on the opening day of the movie, like my X-Men soundtrack did.
Right.
So I suppose, yeah, like I lost in that sense. I mean, I'm still, I'm an active working composer.
Right.
I make a living wage, so I didn't like, I didn't fall from grace or anything. I don't do AAA anymore. And, there's always that one side of me that thinks, what if I had stayed in LA? What if I had not fired that agent? Maybe I would be like, as big as Tommy Tallarico. Because we were all kind of, Tommy Tallarico was already, really well established by the time I came around. But guys like, Tom Salta, Bill Brown, Mike Reagan, like we were all sort of coming up together around the same time. And yeah, yeah. Um, some strange fucking LA, man. I don't know, Bobby, how you, I don't know how you deal with that place, man. But you're like so based and grounded for an LA person. But yeah,
Right.
LA, man, what a weird place. What a fucking weird place, man. Okay, guys, I'll tell you a funny story. Okay, because people always say, like, what was it like to live in Hollywood? Like, tell me about that. What was it like? So I always tell them this absolutely true, absolutely happened. It was literally my first week in Hollywood. An old friend of mine from high school got me my apartment, and we were neighbors actually on the same floor. His name was Chris McCann, incredible photographer. Holy cow. Christopher Ray McCann, Ray with a W if you want to look at his photos. Super talented guy. Anyway, and I have some amazing photos that he took of me in LA that are wonderful. Anyway, so he got me my apartment. He talked to the building manager. I got in touch. I got, everything was fine. All right. So he's like, let's go to the Lava Lounge. If you don't know the Lava Lounge, it was this kind of hipster bar that was actually right beside a laundromat and like a Korean grocery store. Like it was like in a little strip mall. It's like the most
Right.
uncool place to have a bar, but that's what made it a hipster bar. Anyway, so I'm there with Chris and we're just hanging out, and I see, a cute girl, whatever. I start talking. I'm like, hi, I'm David. Blah blah blah. Oh, I'm Lisa. And I was like, so what's the most interesting thing that ever happened to you this week, other than meeting me, of course? Ha 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 ha. So but I usually, I don't like the "where are you from? What do you do?" questions. So it's like, something
Right.
like, are you like, what are you working on in your life that you're excited about right now, or like, um, where like what what like what brought you to LA, in terms of like, because nobody's from LA, right? Nobody's born and raised in LA. No one. I mean, that's not true, but actually the people who are born and raised are really the most fucked up people I've ever met in my life. No, they seriously are the most fucked up people I ever met. Anyway, so I'm talking to this girl, blah, 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 blah. And finally she just ends the vibe and is like, so what do you do? And I was like, oh, well, you know, I'm a composer and a music producer. She's like, oh, just disappointed as can be. And I was like, she's like, oh, wait a second. Don't go anywhere. Just wait right here. And I was like, okay. And she comes back with a, you know, cute girl on her arm. And, you know, and she's like, you know, David, meet Mary. Mary, meet David. And Lisa looks at me and she says, Mary's a singer. I'm an actress. And like waddles off looking for some, you know, movie producer. But that's LA.
Yeah.
So even when you go out to just enjoy some nightlife, you're working. You're working. Right. Everybody is always working. And that story really, really sums up perfectly how LA is, you know?
Would you say that that's part of its charm and beauty? That you can go out to a nightclub and meet a person who is in your industry and become successful?
I'll say yes to a certain degree. That I think what it does is it contributes to a sense of community, because everybody's in the same boat, right? We're all trying to kind of, especially if you're in a bar. If you're in a bar, you're not a big established, big time Hollywood anything, right? You're not going to be in that bar. Although I literally physically, accidentally bumped into Jeff Goldblum. And I said, oh, I'm so sorry, Mr. Goldblum. He's like, oh, it's okay. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. So there you go. That is part of LA's charm, is that literally you can just, I remember when I was working on this other Activision game. No, sorry. It was Pitfall 3D I was working on, and we were doing the post-audio mixing, right, for Pitfall 3D. Bruce Willis was doing the voiceovers for a game called, I think it was called Apocalypse. Anyway, I went into the lounge to grab like a Coke out of the fridge, and I am not shitting you, man. It was just like a Hollywood movie. He's like, you gotta be strong. You gotta be strong, okay? I'm telling you, you know, it's gonna be fine. Listen, babe, it's gonna be fine. You know, and then I'm looking at him like, that's fucking Bruce Willis, man. And he like looks up at me like, what the fuck are you looking at? I'll punch you in the face, asshole. And I was just like, you know. So like, you know, I mean, these are true Hollywood stories. You know, Charlie Murphy's True Hollywood Stories. Anybody watch Chappelle's Show? Well, these are David Logan's True Hollywood Stories. Anyway, so there it is. I forgot why we were talking about this. But anyway, let's see, what else do we have here? Oh gosh, I'm so far behind you guys. I'm so sorry. Let me work backwards here. It's hard when people ask questions like, what are you working on? Yeah, you're right. I mean, I don't know what to say most of the times. Well, you can just say I'm working on personal projects that get me excited, or, you know, I'm not working on anything at the moment, but I'm looking. Right. Do you got anything?
There you go. Always networking.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Look, you know what? I always have this debate about, like, you know, the idea of authenticity, you know, like, what does it really mean to be authentic, you know? And I always sort of think about it, because I'm always like, am I authentic? Am I actually authentic? Or, you know, am I just like a fake and a phony like the rest of them? And I guess, like, for me, I suppose it's about, I like to think that I tell the truth even when it's not convenient, and even when it's not to my advantage to do so, right? I think that's part of it. I think the other part of it is because you don't have to be 100% honest all the time, right? That
would be bad.
That would be bad. Yeah, I agree. I think that we have certain parts of ourselves that are deeply private, And nobody's entitled to know anything about that part of my life. I forgot who said this, but I think he's like a South American psychiatrist. He said, everybody has a public life, everybody has a private life, and everybody has a secret life. We have three lives: public, private, secret, right? And you're entitled to your secrets, you know? And it's okay. Like, even with my girlfriend, I'm like, look, she's like, do you have any secrets that you keep from me? I'm like, of course. She's like, what? What are they? I'm like, well, they're my secrets, They're things that I don't feel comfortable talking to anybody about. And maybe one day we can talk about it. But for right now, I have not made peace with these things within myself, so I can't discuss them with you.
I mean, there are some things that you just have to take to the grave.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I mean, sure. And it's not even like, I think it's like, I mean, I've always been very honest about, the fact that I'm a fairly insecure person, and I always have been, but I've worked at it, right? And it's not like, I don't know. It's hard to explain, I think. But
I think
yeah,
it's enough to try to always try to be honest and authentic. And when I say honest, I don't mean like spill every single thing about yourself, but trying to be that better person. Because yeah, you're never going to be 100% all the time.
you know
And
what it
sometimes you
is?
shouldn't be.
I think that I think something really incredible happens to us when we no longer want to control any other person other than ourselves. So the only person I want control over is me. And I think that most people live their lives trying to kind of get control over the various people in their lives. And that's why my relationship with my girlfriend works so well, because neither of us have any interest in controlling the other, And it's a beautiful place to be, because you're in peace, right? I don't know. I guess I don't know what brought me to all this. I guess maybe talking about LA and how fake it can be. And so, I look, there's a book called I forgot who wrote it, but how to make friends and gain influence or something like this. And it's like a kind of like a self-help book, and it talks about how to get subtle control and how to get people to do, like, there's little hacks. I don't know if this is from that book, but like, if you can say yes 3 times before asking somebody a question, like, yes, I know this is going to be tough, Bobby. Yes, I realize that you might not be happy about this, but yes, I would really be grateful if you could lend me $20. You're more likely to say yes because you heard the word yes 3 times. So this is like a little life hack, like, there's all these things. Anyway, so for me, it's like, I don't want to do those things. I want to say, you know what,
Right.
Bobby, I'm in a really fucking hard place in my life right now.
Right.
And I've never asked you for anything. And, I'm embarrassed to even ask for this, but if you could lend me $20, man, like, it would really, really be helpful. Now, if I need it for like a hit of cocaine, like, I don't need to be truthful about that. That's my secret life.
Right.
and,
Right.
and,
Yeah.
and if Bobby said to me, like, okay, well, what do you need it for? I would, if I was being like super honest, I would say to feed my demons. I wouldn't say to buy Coke. I'd say to feed my demons. And
I think
Bobby
that
would
sounds
be,
worse.
what's that?
I
Sounds
think
worse,
feeding
yeah.
your demons sounds a lot
Yeah,
worse.
that's true. Probably
I'll give you
sounds
20
worse. I
bucks
don't
for
know.
Coke, but
Anyway, I don't know.
shall we get
Anyway,
back to Tales of
we're sorry.
shall
I
we
was
get
going to
back to
say we're
Tales of
so
Destiny?
far off topic, and it's like every time I read these comments, I go off topic. Okay, so I do want to catch up though. Kind of similar experience a few times. I've never lived in LA, but I'm a 3D modeler, and it's caused a few people to try and be my friend. And you know what? I don't think there's anything wrong with people trying to be your friend because they want to work with you. Because, like, you know,
Well, I think he said that they tried to get free work out of him.
oh, free. Oh, I didn't. Oh, yeah, that's the worst. Yeah, don't ever. No,
Yeah.
yeah, never do
That's
that.
manipulative.
Yeah, never, yeah, do that. Um, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say never. I think there are some moments in life where you can work for free. But um, like, you know, actually, a friend of mine that I would consider a friend called me asking me for a favor. And the favor was to compose a demo for a Marion Jones Nike commercial for the Summer Olympics in 2004, before they found out she was using steroids. But so she was like the biggest thing ever, right?
Right.
So the thing is, Wyden Kennedy, the ad agency, they had blown their whole demo fee and they still couldn't find any composer. They rejected everything, that even my friend's company. And he's like, dude, we don't have any money. It's free. Could you just do me a solid? And I was like, listen, man, you know, we're in our 40s, man. Like, you don't ask for free work anymore. He's like, I know. I wouldn't ask if I didn't think you were like the perfect guy. And I was sort of like, well, then why didn't you call me when you had the demo fee? You know, which is my way of saying, you know, you're a fucking liar. And but you know what? Lying is a cooperative act, right? So most people know they're being lied to, and most people, you know, accept it. Um, anyway, and he asked me, and the, long story short, I did it, and I got the gig, and it's my biggest ad credit in my whole career was that. It's called Scary House Nike, if anybody wants to watch it. Anyway, all right, let's get back to this, because I keep reading the chats and then I want to answer
Right.
everybody's question. If we have time later, I'll try to answer. But let's see. So should I just break down a little bit of this rebuild and what I've done? Maybe
Yeah.
is that
Yeah.
a good
Let's see
place
it.
to
I'll
start?
highlight your screen so you can see that.
Thanks.
There we go.
So let's start with the strings and the sort of somber open. So originally, let's see, do I even have the original strings here?
So did they describe it to you? Did they just give you
They gave me
the
the cutscene.
animation and say,
Yeah, they gave me the cutscene. So basically, I had this video. Okay.
and did you know who the characters were and what the story was,
No,
or
no. I mean,
wow,
they
okay,
gave me like a GDD, but they also gave me a
right,
summary kind of overview of like, this is the basics. This is kind of what the game is about. They wanted like epic orchestra. They specified that. For the end credit sequence, they wanted sort of like orchestral meets electronic. Talked about that last week and played it, in fact, which featured both the Access Virus and the Roland JP8080.
right,
Both were on that. But this, they wanted like a pure orchestral score. So they got that. So yeah, originally, you know, it was just everything was in one big string track here. And you can see here, you know, I mean, Bobby, we've talked about this, about the idea of contour and shape,
yeah,
right? One of the sort of core principles in composing is something called voice leading. Voice leading is the direction of your melody versus the direction of your bass line. And without even thinking about it, you can see this is all going in an upward direction while the bass is going in a downward, clear down. And this is something we just do it sort of subconsciously. Look, when the bass goes up, the upper voice goes down, upper voice goes down, bass goes up. Look at the other way, bass goes down, up, this voice goes up. Now these move in the same direction, but whatever, it's not a perfect science. But in general, they go in opposing directions. So one of the first things I did when I started thinking about the remake was I started looking into libraries that I've always wanted to use and I never get a chance to use, that I think is just a fantastic library. You know it, we've talked about it before. This is called String Contours by Stress Off Sampling. And essentially what this does is it takes various contours of shapes, and you can control the contour shape. You know, so you can basically say, I want one whole note going up in volume and dynamics, one going down. And that's exactly the shape that most composers do. You know, even on my Reign of Titan soundtrack, in the intro of that, it's exactly the contour. It's a very common contour, and it's used all the damn time. So essentially what I did, and the beauty of the library is that you can change things midstream, and it doesn't matter. It'll always, wait, let me just it'll always follow that same contour. So I started by doing what I often do, which is, blending multiple sound sources into one. So I did this. This is one. Okay, so I did that. And you can hear, this has got a very light eighth note pulse underneath, which you never hear in the final because it just gets buried, because I wouldn't want that, but you can hear it on its own anyway. Wait, let's do this. So here's another layer. So this is called lure, and tutti means all players. This is just cello sul tasto, which is a very sort of dry and close to the bridge. And so then I had a melody also using just violins, normal, espressivo, normale, and then all three together sound like this. So this is just giving a really beautiful, rich, organic texture. And then finally,
it does sound beautiful.
Say again?
It does sound very beautiful.
Yeah.
Just those couple notes, simply, yeah.
Yeah, it's quite lovely. Very, very, very happy with how these strings sound. Then another library that both Bobby and I love, which is the Lux library. This is a new library. This is actually from Sonu score. It's called Lux, orchestral strings. So when I originally wrote this, I was just sort of, my production skills were not what they are today. And so literally everything got written in one track. Well, that's not really how we should be writing for strings, meaning best practices. So now here I am many years later, and I know the best practices. And the best practices are to divide your strings into their respective correct sections, which would be your double basses, your cellos, your violas, second violins, and firsts. And so that's exactly what I did. And so I used the Lux strings to do that. And they're beautiful. They sound lovely. Of course, you can see all the movement. This is me moving the dynamics. And I mean, listen to those dynamics. Oof, delicious, no? Go back a little bit. So you can see here, this is a much more, and by the way, remember, I'm not finished yet, so I haven't put the dynamic shaping in this section yet. And so I probably will at some point, but it's not there yet. So now this is giving us more movement. These are giving more movement. And then of course, I needed that, all of that playing together. And then lightly underneath, I have the all-in-one as well. So this is to get size, because what I wanted was a big, lush string orchestra. So that's what's happening over here. The other thing that we can also look at is some of these, because I was working with this library from Peter Sidliacek called Smart Violins. So whenever you see SV, it's from that library. So, and I included those as well, by the way. No round robins. And by the way, the smart violins, you can see I had to use a different sound set on a different track. But listen to how beautiful it is. That beautiful octave glissando. Now it's much louder than this. Why? Because I have the Lux violins. Because they're no round robins. It's a very old library. Right? Okay. Now, Bobby, we were talking earlier about that harmonization in Lydian, right?
Right.
And I was telling you, that I wanted the C on the top so that the B of Lydian you would be able to hear it. By the way, I am so disappointed on so many things about Lux, like you can't even begin to imagine. Now that I'm working with it, holy cow, buyer's remorse.
Wow.
Yeah, no, but like I hope they fix it because it's like almost unusable.
Did you install the latest update?
Maybe not. Maybe that's the problem. So, but I'll give you a perfect example here. When you, every time you use modulation as an effect, it just goes back to 0. So in order to hear the note, to play anything, you literally have to grab your mod wheel and reset it every time.
I hate when that happens. Yeah.
No, but it's ridiculous. It's so amateur, Bill. No? So look, here I am. I'm going to play from the beginning. I can hear that melody just fine.
Right.
Nothing.
Oh.
And now, if you watch my hand, right, I'm going to, ready? Wait for it. So this literally makes the library completely useless.
Right.
You can only compose using other professional libraries and then assign them
bring it in
when you're done, which defeats the whole purpose of having a great library. Anyway, I hope it's an update fix because that is absolutely unforgivable, like literally unforgivable. Because I could understand, Bobby, and it would make perfect sense if it froze my modulation at the position 113. Where it was last
played. That's what everything does. Yeah.
Right? That's what everything, that's how the way it works.
Right.
Nope. It goes all the way down to 0. And the dynamic range, I mean, I applaud them for such a big one. It's wonderful to have, but it's not practical. Because you literally can't, can you hear that? I don't know.
No.
No. But you can hear that.
Right.
So, yeah, it's terrible. It's so much so that I make my default Lux violins set to spiccato so that I can actually know that there's some sound happening. Because so many times I open it up and it doesn't make any sound. And I'm like, oh my God, my MIDI channels are wrong. Why can't I hear anything? Yeah. It's positively ridiculous. The amount of noise in the recordings, like, have you never heard of a high pass filter while you're recording? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? By you people, I mean amateurs, because it's kind of amateur. Have that much noise is not acceptable. I can understand from certain Spitfire. I'm sorry, I don't mean to call Sonos Score amateurs. They're definitely not amateurs. But this product was rushed out the door and was not battle tested by real composers. Not working composers, no way. Because no working composer, Bobby, would ever let that leave the shop. Never. Because it makes the product completely you can't work with the product. You can't work with the mod wheel at all.
I just can't believe that's
you're seeing it.
Amazing.
You're seeing it right here. Look, I will solo this first violins. Okay. And I stopped at 113.
Right.
Watch my hands. Mod wheel. What do you want? No working professional composer that actually does this as their day job would ever let that leave the house or the lab.
Right.
And that's how I know
Right.
they did not battle test this. There's no way any composer would ever, if I knew this, no way I would have bought the library. I really hope it's fixed. I really hope so. And I'm sorry to be so critical and harsh, but come on, guys, we're in 2026 here. You know, we're
Yeah,
not,
it's a big error.
right? Like it's a massive error. No library, and even Spitfire libraries from like 15 years ago don't do that. You know, it's
Yeah,
awful.
that's just crazy.
Anyway, so I started there. What else? Okay, so yeah, for these short strings, I'll show you. Oh, I got to show you this. This is maybe the most important thing I did. That was a real problem, and I'll show you how I solved it. Okay, but first of all, so there's 3 layers of the shorts. And there's the harmonization in thirds I was discussing with you earlier, Bobby, with the C on the top. And I'm sorry, audience, that I'm ignoring you, but every time I read a comment, I spend 25 minutes discussing it. So I'm trying to ignore you. I love you all. You know I do. But we got to do something on here, you know? These are all the shorts. No quantization, by the way. This is all done, as far as I remember, I didn't quantize anything. Yeah, you can see everything here is all off the grid. Everything is off the grid here. So I was very much, also Pac-Man World 2, no quantizing. I was very into it back then. Like I was like very much like, I was actually a much better musician than I am now, because now I kind of quantize everything. Okay, so here, remember those smart violins? So here is a line. Oh, those are delicious.
That sounds
so,
great.
Sounds amazing, because
Yeah.
it's a little bit cheating, because if you watch my hand,
Okay.
it's not really cheating, but whatever. It's like, you know. Now, for the track, especially once we get here. Right? So I really wanted it. It felt very, that first part was great, super crunchy and exposed. I really liked it.
Yeah.
But then here, to me, it just felt a little MIDI. It was too much. You know, da-ga-da, da-ga-da was fine, but this was like da-ga-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Right.
But I love the line. I loved it, and I wanted to do it using modern scoring tools.
Hey,
And so
David,
here-
I think the music might be a little loud for the stream.
Oh, the music is too loud for the stream? I'm so sorry, you guys. So sorry. Let's turn that down then. Better, I hope. Is that too low? I can't even hear that, though.
Yeah, that's pretty low. Maybe somewhere in between.
Is that better?
I think it's fine.
I'm looking at it. It's lighter than my voice. The levels are fine,
Okay.
actually. So anyway, so here was my solution, because I thought I really wanted to use modern string sounds, you know, specifically the afflatus strings and the staccatos that we love so much. But when it also felt MIDI. When I would use the staccatos playing that line, da-ga-da, da-ga-da, it still felt MIDI no matter what I did. So here was my solution. It's pretty clever, I think, anyway. What I did was, for the first and third note, okay, wait, let me make sure these are all labeled correctly. That is the staccato. This is the Witcher, called Witcher strings. Okay, Witch Hunter, good. Okay, so this was my solution, which I thought was fairly clever. What I did is I divided everything. So the first and the third note were played with these Witcher strings. okay, on two different channels. The center note was played with the staccato because the staccato is the hardest and shortest. And then I added all three together, and you get. And it sounds great. It sounds great. Now, there's some panning issues. I know. I have ears. I can hear. But you know what? I always say this, like, we're not here to make authentic, real orchestral music. We're here to make video game music, right? Like, never lose sight of that, guys. It doesn't have to be perfect or authentic. And, you know, as far as mixing goes, you know, going from the Lux to that ancient, more than 20-year-old smart violins sample, this one here, the Octave Bliss, you know, I mean, that's, if you listen, by the way, if you listen to the difference, it's quite strong. Like they feel mix-wise like really different libraries, right? So, you know, I'm aware of all of this, but it's okay. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's okay. You're allowed to do that. David Logan, I give you permission. I absolve you. You know that wonderful scene in Amadeus where Salieri at the end is like, I am the whatever, like the prince of mediocrity, and or the whatever, the god of mediocrity, and I absolve you of your mediocrity. You know, in that movie, I always identify with Salieri as the character. I feel the most like Salieri, inferior and not good enough and mediocre, you know, and I feel that his struggle is more accurate of what the struggle of an artist is, because most artists are not geniuses like Mozart. He's very much not your average artist. He's very much not even close to a real artist in the sense that he doesn't struggle, you know. He struggles in his personal life, but he doesn't struggle with his art, you know. It's literally perfect mathematical equations in his brain. He just writes them out. Many of his piano concertos were completed by his students from their memory of what he played, because he never even bothered to write down the parts for the concertos that he played, because he never thought they would ever be played again by anyone ever, right? So maybe in this way he was a real artist. I don't know. I very much doubt anyone will ever play Pac-Man World 2 100 years from now. Well, that's not true, because I think Spin will carry the torch, right? Because he's getting it all in the will, in my will. He's going to get all the, one day a thumb drive is going to show up to his door, you know, and in it will be like, Spin, you're a stand-up guy, you're awesome, I give you all my Pac-Man files. And he'll just be like, gave that up 10 years ago, throw it in the trash. That would be so funny, actually. I could totally see that, like, in a funny movie. All right, going back to this, though. You're allowed to do whatever the hell you want, man. It's just like whatever it takes to sound good.
Whatever sounds good.
What?
Whatever sounds good.
Whatever sounds good. Yeah. Like Duke Ellington said, if it sounds good, it is good. Now, as you can see with the strings, there's tons of layering going on. Lots of different layering. And then for some reason, I normally always layer French horns, but in this particular case, in fact, it was the two horns from a flatus brass. Whoa. I mean, if you told me those were real horns, I would believe you. especially with the beautiful dynamic range and the movement of this mod wheel. I'd believe it. I would totally believe it. Why was it popping? It was a little glitch. This is a very big, it's a very heavy project. There's a lot of stuff. And so, yeah, it's also earlier Contact crashed Logic a few times. The new Logic, the new Contact 8.8, I mistakenly made an upgrade and it's not been going well. So I'm not, I wouldn't recommend it. I'm sort of stuck with it now, but I mean, I guess I could always go back. Anyway, you can see the performance meter here in Logic. You can kind of see. It's not that heavy. I don't know what the problem is. Okay, so, I mean, what else is there to know about this? The harp, I'm doing 4 layers of harp. I can't even believe I wrote this, guys. Like, I can't write like this anymore. I literally cannot write this way. I just can't. I can't explain it. I don't know why, but I don't write this way anymore. I just don't. I was so free back then, and now I feel so much more constricted. Okay, so the other thing that's, I guess, maybe worth mentioning, I don't know if it is, but the cello. So years ago, before moving to Los Angeles, when I was still living in Toronto, there was this kid, this cello prodigy kid. His name was Joe, and that's all I knew about him. But I hired him to play on a session, and I asked him, "Would you mind if I sampled you?" And he's like, "Sure." He's like, "Do I get paid more?" I'm like, "Yeah, why not?" So I paid him more. I'm like, "Hey, don't ask, don't get." So back then, the idea of round robins, I mean, that was like, 12, 15 years away. Anyway, so this was, I can show you here. This is the map. I literally didn't even sample every note. But what a beautiful, rich cello sound. But man, not enough notes. So I layered that. Oh, excuse me, my goodness. For those that don't know, this is Tina Guo. She's performed with Hans Zimmer. She's a sort of, one of the, probably the most famous cellist, in modern scoring, I would argue. And she's done a couple libraries. Yes. What's that?
I said, yeah, in scoring.
In scoring, yeah, in scoring. Not in classical music. I don't think she's good enough to be, in classical music,
I would give that to Yo-Yo Ma still.
Yeah, leave that to Yo-Yo Ma and not Yo Mama. Sorry. That's just such a bad joke. I can't even believe I did that. All right. Look it up, guys. Yo-Yo Ma is, by far the greatest living cellist. So, but where she lacked talent to be in the classical world, she makes up for with flashiness in the world of scoring. And she's a salesman, and she's amazing. Don't get me wrong, I mean, she's a monster talent, no question.
Yeah,
I don't even think she wants to be a classical cellist. I think she's very comfortable in her own skin, You have to be to make your wallpaper this. It's like, sorry, I don't know. This bothers me, actually. I almost don't like using her library. But anyway.
The other one, too, yeah.
The other ones, they're both bad. And I think the other one's worse, though. She's like leaning forward. And it's like ugly. Anyway, so this is a combination of her and Cello Joe together. One of the notes is terribly out of tune, but I like that. It's a feature, not a bug, Actually, it's the very first note, but you know, in the mix, sounds great. I mean, you know, when you study film scoring, you study something called hit points or sync points or beats. So there's a lot of different names for it. But, you know, getting that tight, really tight in the animation, I'm really happy about. And like, you know, things like, you know, when that big ship comes out of the water, the big giant crash that accompanies it. You know, it was those kind of things that were missing because of the re-edit, the person who re-edited, you know, none of the timings worked, right? So I had to go back and frame for frame, re-edit everything. But yeah, in here, like all this scoring, super tight.
How did you handle video back then?
Say again?
How did you handle video sync back then?
Oh God, what a nightmare.
I know.
Oh my goodness, what a nightmare. So you opened up a big can of worms. I'll tell you what, I'll give you the short answer. The short answer is you would have to stripe videotape with something called SMPTE timecode. So you had to have this thing called a blackburst generator. It was all this, like literally analog synchronization essentially. And you had a VCR, and on your desk you would have, you know, like a control box basically. And something very similar to this. And, you know, you would, you know, hit play and it would, and it would just synchronize all of your devices. But you had to have the blackburst generator because you had a MIDI interface, you had your VCR, usually a 3/4 inch. And I remember specifically around the late 90s, early 2000s, and this was one of the examples of it, was Tales of Destiny. They sent these like really tiny, like, you know, I don't know, like, you know, 80 by 120 pixels QuickTime movies because they took forever to render. And so for, you know, the general rule was you use 3/4 inch tape for doing, you know, offline work because it was less expensive. It was easier to reproduce. There were a number of reasons why.
Right.
And so there's something similar kind of with the world of QuickTime movies, you know, when QuickTime started, you know, sort of coming into the fold. But the short answer is prior to being able to import a movie into your DAW, it was done with a VCR. Yeah, you had a 3/4 inch VCR and anything you did to picture. And it took 2 or 3 seconds for all the synchronization to lock in. So you always had to go several, you know, like 5 seconds before you wanted to hit your sync point so that all your machines, you know, your blackburst generator, your MIDI interface, and your, you know, which would generate to your sequencer and your VCR could all do the same thing. And it was a nightmare because you had different standards. There was, you know, 29.99 or 29.97 drop frame, non-drop frame. You had 30 drop, 30 non-drop. And it all has to do with when the transition between color and black and white happened. There's all these different, it was really complicated when you had to synchronize things and you had to deal with MIDI time code and, oh, dear me. Yeah. Anyway, in the end, the codecs didn't matter. But yeah, probably you're right about that, about the why the movie didn't play. Anyway, I found a wonderful version and re-edited the synchronization to match what I wrote. And in the end, I've got a wonderful, beautiful 4K. I mean, look at this anime. It's gorgeous, just gorgeous. So tight at that scoring. And that's what I went to school for, man. You know, for film scoring. And that's what
Right.
I studied that to be able to plan that all out, so that it all works so well together. Anyway, I mean, I think that's about all, unless, we want to kind of answer a few questions, or Bobby, if you have any questions. Oh,
No, I'm
right. The
good.
one,
I'm
wait, the
good.
one, sorry, I have to point this out, because this is the one thing that, people said about like working with Namco. What was it like? Blah, 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 blah. So there was no hit point where the main character turns to the camera and smiles. You'll notice this big crescendo, and a crash cymbal lands right on his smile. Watch this. Here it comes. Okay. It's a little cheesy and a little campy, but they were adamant about that. Specifically, Yoss was just
Really?
like, because the way the music was working, and to hit the end point,
Okay.
um, uh, it couldn't be arranged. It couldn't be work. I couldn't get it to sync at first, and I can't remember exactly how I solved it. Yeah, I slowed the tempo down momentarily,
Mm,
and then sped it up. But you don't really notice it that much, I don't think. And
right.
then did like this sort of bum bum ba ba ba, sort of triplet figure, because he's like, it has to. You have to have a big crescendo exactly when he opens his mouth and smiles, and he just wouldn't let up on that. And I was just like, all right, there's no way around that. So that was one thing they were just like, it's got to be there, it has to happen, and they were just wouldn't accept no for an answer. So there it is. Any other questions? Like, Bobby, do you have a question for me about anything we just looked at?
Um, can't think of anything really.
Okay.
Thank you.
So for people in the chat, I'm very sorry that I'm kind of ignoring you, but we weren't really talking about any music, which is what I'm sure you guys want to see. And we were talking about me trying to pick up young actresses in Hollywood bars,
Yeah.
which I'm
And
sure you
borrow
don't
20
really
bucks
want to
for
hear about
cocaine.
that. What's that?
And borrow 20 bucks for
And
cocaine.
borrowing 20 bucks for cocaine. By the way, that is a
Yeah,
joke. I
that is a joke.
am straight
Yes.
edge. I do not drink alcohol. I don't smoke. I don't do drugs. I don't gamble. I don't watch sports even. It's one of the reasons my girlfriend loves me so much. She's like, oh, you don't know. Italian guys, they sit on the couch all day just watching sports, drinking alcohol, smoking cigarettes or drugs, or they gamble all the time and blah, 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 blah. There's a kind of a gambling thing in Italy. Like there's all these little
Really?
sidebars that have these like
Oh, okay.
slot
Yeah.
machines, and because it's all
Slot machines. Wow.
controlled, and it's all extensions of like the old mafia and shit like that. So anyway, um, so yeah, I'm not actually asking $20 from Bobby to do cocaine. Just, it's a joke. Anyway,
Yeah. He has
how
his own
about
$20 for cocaine.
what's that?
I said, You have your own
I
$20
kind
for
of do,
cocaine."
because I just,
But it's okay.
I did buy an MKS 80, so
Right.
actually now I do
So
need to borrow for buying the MKS 80. Um,
by next week, will we see it, you think?
I think by the stream next week, it should be here and installed. And probably I've decided it's going to go
It,
right here. I'm going to move all this stuff out.
okay.
And because I love these electrics, these are super cool processors, and
Right.
they just look nice. And I did partly I did this because it looks nice. But yeah, it is. It's way easier to use the Jupiter right here. It's much
Yeah.
easier because it's just not, well, look, I mean, if you see these racks, and I extend my arms all the way, and I lean forward, you can actually see I can't reach them,
Right.
right? So having this like right behind me, so it's like boom, it's easy to reach. It's like right there. So, and it looks cool. And why shouldn't I have a nice looking studio? Because the thing is, like,
Of course.
I don't always like kind of cut to the other angles unless it's relevant to the stream, right?
Right.
And whenever I do, I always feel like, oh, maybe people think I'm showing off, and and it's like, I don't know, like I feel in a weird way like guilty,
And now
because
you
it's
can feel like you're showing off permanently.
yeah, kind of, but they say if you've got it, then flaunt it. This is a big
There you go.
saying in the 70s. If you got it, flaunt
Right.
it. I mean, look, I worked really freaking hard, you know, and this is all
Right.
Pac-Man World 2 era gear, by the way. This is the house that Activision built, I always say, you know, and that
Mm.
Namco built, you know. This is all the toys I bought from those paychecks from every one of the triple. You think I could do mid-sized studio work and afford this shit? No way.
Right.
This is all AAA game cash, you know, which
Right.
I haven't done in a very long time, you know. I'm not rich, guys, but you know, I keep my head well above water. You know, I'm not starving, you know, but I'm not living in luxury, you know. Um, Hans Zimmer, Step Aside. Can't wait to see it. David Logan, happy for you. Thank you, Jasmine. Oh, Jasmine is so nice. I would say you're so sweet, but my girlfriend will get so jealous, you know. I heard you call Jasmine sweet. No, I'm joking. She's totally cool. Thank you for sharing your story and info for this score. Absolutely, Dalek, it is a pleasure. Um, you guys are a delight to listen to, no matter what the subject. Thank you, Jasmine, again. You're so nice. By the way, Dal, the main reason why the old movie. Ah, right. Yes, exactly. That sounds so cool. Thank you. Sounds so real. Thank you. That joke was great. Thank you. I don't know if it was you, Bobby, or me who told the joke. Joe the Cello Man. I hope he one day watches my stream and is like, you owe me money. How many times? If I knew you were using it on AAA game companies' work, I would have charged you double. I would pay him too. So I will never not be amazed by the digital instruments that sound so real. I mean, especially those French horns, man. But you see, I gotta give myself a little pat on the back because you know part of the reason why these instruments sound as good as they do is the work that I put into it, right? So
Right.
the original French horn line just played and did what it did, right? So there it is on its own. But you see what I'm doing over here. Let's just switch the angles here. So this is the part that makes it feel real, right? You know, it's the crafting. It's the hand crafting of you know the shape of the melody and the dynamics that you use. I mean, that's partly what makes these things sound live. It's that human touch. You know, people always say like, "Oh, well, do you really need all that stuff on your desk?" It's like, yeah, actually, I do. It's true. I use all of it. You know, so.
Right.
Um, all right. So, anything else? Let's see. Is the PSO string staccato being used? The Peter Sidliacek Orchestra. It's the Peter Sidliacek Smart Violins, but not really. It's mostly I'm using the afflatus strings from Stretsov sampling. I'm
Mhm.
also using the Lux strings, not for the staccato strings. And just to get totally technical, it's spiccato. It's not actually staccato bowings. I'm using spiccato bowings, but whatever. It's a slight difference. The difference is that staccato is like a short stroke down. It's like a downstroke. And a spiccato is you're actually striking almost like a drumstick. You're attacking very, very quickly. It's a much shorter attack, the spiccato. It's my preferred. Repack has at least another 20 years to do what World 2's music. I said, okay, yeah, sure. I'll go with that, Nick. By the way, it's on the agenda officially. Right now, my girlfriend and I are playing, I don't know, Mario Odyssey, one of the 3D Mario games. I bought like 2 3D Mario games. I still think that it doesn't work at all. Mario can only be a 2D platformer. It doesn't work as a 3D. It's wrong. Everything about it is wrong. Sorry, I'm old school. What do you want?
Right.
Regardless, what is on next? Our next game, as soon as we finish Mario, Pac-Man World 2 Repack. It's literally our next to-do entertainment together activity, because you can do 2-player on it, apparently. Have any of you tried the 2-player mode? That's what I heard. No?
It has couch co-op? Really?
Huh. I don't know. She said it did. She was Googling and she said it did, but maybe she's wrong. Maybe it's only online.
No, I think it can.
Yeah? Have any of you in the chat done Pac-Man World 2? And is there anyone who asked me a question I didn't answer and it's just like you're dying to have me answer it? You can ask me now in the next 5-10 minutes, okay? I'm sorry. I just, I get too caught up in the chat and then I don't actually do anything on my stream. So I recently got the Smart Violins Akai ISO and I love the disco presets. They're great, Spin. Yeah, they're really wonderful. In fairness, David, wasn't like composing from the fundamental start like he did for World 2. In fairness, David wasn't composing. Oh.
That was when I asked you if they gave you any direction for the
yeah,
because or if they just gave you the cutscene.
Yeah, that's a fair point, I think, because they were sort of testing me, right? They kind of wanted to see, like, was I up to the task?
Does he get it?
Did I get it? Yeah,
right.
That's a really good way of thinking about it. Did I get it? Could I do their, approach? Because you have to understand, Japanese game companies are unbelievably particular about music. And working directly, I mean, Yas Naguchi is Japanese,
Right.
And, I mean, he's lived most of his life in San Francisco, but he's born in Japan, came to America as a kid. As far as I remember, I could be wrong about that, but I don't think I am. Anyway, he was unbelievably, like I would have pages and pages of notes from him. And the revisions were a lot. There was a lot of revisions, a lot. And they're very particular. Yeah. Even about the sounds, like, oh, I don't want an electric bass. It should be an orchestral bass. And I was like, but there's a hip hop drum beat, I don't care.
Right.
It's what I want. I'm like, okay, so it is orchestral
Right.
basses with hip hop breakbeat. This is for the, and the funny thing is, it works. Like, it more than works. And this is why they're so particular, because they ideas that maybe I didn't agree with that I thought were wrong, but you can't argue. It works. Let's see,
Right.
Where is that? It's going to be over here. I won't play the whole thing, but I'll just give you that specific part. Here it is. By the way, that whole beautiful first violin melody, I can't sing that high. Sorry, I can't sing that high. That was pretty awful, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. Anyway, that was all from the Smart Violins. It's a fantastic library, wonderful library. Anyway, any final questions? I'm so sorry if I didn't answer all the questions, but like I said, I get so caught up in answering your questions in great detail that I don't do anything on the stream. So,
Right.
will you do the credit? Oh, that's a great question, Dalek. What I'm still trying to finish this, in terms of making it like a complete, perfect as it can be. Remaking, yeah, I mean, I really should, because it uses both the virus and the JP8080 both. Damn, it's very tempting. I think it's, first of all, it was a lot of work doing this. Fair enough, I had to do a lot of Final Cut editing. I'm not going to promise you I'm going to do it for next stream, and maybe we should get back to Pac-Man World 2, for the next stream, and then we can alternate each time. I don't know. Without 3D Mario, you wouldn't have Pac-Man World 2, Dal. Hey, that's a very good point. That's a, yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, that's a good
I think it
point.
was
It's a
the
fair
success
point.
of
But
Mario 64.
what's that?
I think it was the success of Mario 64.
That was that was N64, wasn't it? That
Right,
one?
right.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a smash hit. Absolutely. And the thing is, though, I just somehow, you know what it is in the one I'm playing, and I really wish I remembered which one I was playing. And what I feel doesn't work is, it's like you don't actually watch your character, you have to watch your character's shadow. That's bad game design. That's just bad design. If you don't know where you are in the game, and you have to actually aim your shadow, like even just jumping on the pole at the end, you have to like look at your shadow. It's horrible. I find that 3D, like half the time I jump over a wall because I don't know where I am. Because the depth of perception that we have in a three-dimensional space is proportionate to our world. And,
Right.
we have a sense of where we are, but the problem is like, you're looking from your perspective onto a screen of a 3D perspective of sort of like a 3/4 down view. And I just find it is really hard. And I never had that problem with Pac-Man World 2 back in the day when I played it, So anyway, player 2 controls the new character named Pac Drone. That doesn't sound very fun. Is it fun? Though they control differently from Pac-Man. All right. We should look into the instruments for World 2 and when they cut to Destiny next week, and then cut to. You know what, Spin, I would say, like, sure, like I'm happy to do that. We can definitely do that for next week. I guess, Bobby, if you want to even set it up for next week, instruments used on Pac-Man World 2 will be the subject of the stream. Let's lock that in, because Spin has been so patient and loyal, and we should reward that. So we're going to do that next week. We'll make the whole stream just about what instruments. And I think, Spin, I think I mean, honestly, I always say it in a joking way, but it's really not a joke. I think you know better than I do what instruments. I laugh because I think it's awesome that you know better than me. So let's do that for next week. And what you should do, though, do your homework, which is arrive with a list of, like, just be like, all right, I want to know, whatever, scuba duba precisely, in the second melody. I want to know, what is that? Is it the 3080, or is it, or which pack pipe did you use on? So just come with a list so we can kind of put it to bed, because I know you really want to get it done, and I appreciate it, really. And so, yeah, let's do that. Let's just focus on that for next stream. But do your homework, Spin. Like, I'm literally not going to do anything until you ask. So it's going to be the Spin show next week. It's your show. You're the boss next week. And shit, man. Do you want to just like come to the Zoom call, Spin? Like, why not? Let's bring Spin on the Zoom. You can ask me in person. You want to do that, Spin?
Right.
Yeah, let me know. Okay. Let's see. Do you know what this 3D Mario is about? What's the 3D Mario about? Do you mean which game am I playing? Which 3D Mario am I playing? Is that what you're asking? Anyway, Mario 3D slander will not be tolerated. I agree, Nick. I agree. No, you know what? I think that the greatest video game franchise ever, not even remotely debatable, is Mario. I'm sorry, guys. I don't care if you're a Zelda fan. I don't care. For me, it's
Right.
Mario. You know, just I think it's the best franchise. I don't care. Listen, I was a Halo junkie. I think it's one of the other greatest franchises. But in terms of, I'll tell you in what terms, okay? Here are my terms. Replayability. It is consistently the most fun, replayable game. No matter how many times I play,
Right.
it's always fun. And it's always like the first time. And you can't say that about many games. Like, I didn't find Halo's replayability, like, it was very replayable. And the only other game, but it's only one game, even though the franchise is amazing. And I would argue this is the greatest game ever made. Like, Mario's the greatest franchise ever made, but the greatest game, remember, in my own humble opinion, and I am, in fact, you know, the composer of Pac-Man World 2, I know a few things. Resident Evil 4, like, hands down,
Oh, okay.
hands down, greatest game ever made. You were getting worried there for a
The
moment?
original.
Huh?
The original.
Oh, not the remake. Yeah, no.
Right.
Yeah, the original, classic, old school. And for me, the superior platform was the Wii. And the reason why is you didn't need to purchase any of those arm steadies, you know, that would steady
Mm-hmm.
your aim, because the
Right.
Wii controller was literally perfect. So it was the best console to play it on. And by far, it's the most replayable uh, and greatest game ever made. But Mario is the greatest replayable franchise of all time, you know. But I'm just not. I've never played Mario as 3D. This is my first time ever playing a 3D Mario. I played a bit of the Odyssey, or the, what was it? Mario 64 Odyssey. What was it called? The one you just mentioned?
Galaxy or something? I don't know.
Mario 64, whatever it was, the one for the N64.
Right.
I did play a bit of it, but I just sort of same thing happened. I was just like, I can't get into this 3D thing. It's not the way it is, because it's a 2D platformer. It always will be that for me. I'm slowly getting into the 3D side of things. I'm slowly like, this is starting to be fun. But I'm sorry, guys. Nick, I agree with you, no slander, but you have to make one exception for me, because fucking Mario Wonder is the shittiest game ever made. Like, it's the worst Mario game. Why on earth would I want to be an elephant? Explain this to me. I don't want to be an elephant for half of the game. I want to be Mario, right? And, you know, the one I'm playing right now, you can become a cat, by the way. But at least it's cute, and you can see Mario, and you can see him just, he's got a little cat suit on. And at the end of the level, he's like, meow. It's adorable. But the elephant, I don't want to be, I don't know. Anybody here play Mario Wonder? I just thought it was terrible. But I agree. No Mario slander will be tolerated. I'm totally with you on that one. The good elephant. I hope we do a stream together, Dal. Why not? What do you do you have a stream, Dalek? Do you do a stream? By the way, anybody, listen to me carefully. Anybody on this stream who is here, who comes, and we know you, if you have a stream and you invite me to be a guest on your stream, and I cannot speak for Bobby, but I can speak for me, I will arrive. I'll come to your, I'd be more than happy to do your stream, any of you. So yes, if Mika, you want to do a stream, if you want me to come on your stream, I'd be more than happy to. And maybe we could even do, I don't know how we would do it, but I know that you are working with Spin and myself to kind of, we'll call it the Pac-Man World 2 Preservation Society. That sounds so good, no? So you could even come if you want for our Zoom call. I'd have no problem with that. So I don't know, but then it kind of opens up a can of worms. I think maybe the better thing to do, yeah, is Spin, just come with a list of your questions for me for next week. And as far as like coming on the stream, I think we would have to sort of plan it where we would just have like a live stream where anyone could join the Zoom call. And maybe we'd have some rules about like maybe not more than 3 guests. So there's not more than 5 of us on the Zoom call at once.
Right.
Because it could get a little weird, or too much people talking at the same time. And then maybe like every 20 minutes we rotate out a guest or something like that. I'd be happy to get people more involved. But if any of you have a stream and you invite me, you want to interview me, I would be more than happy. It'd be a pleasure to be on your stream. So Mika, we can definitely do that. Pikmin 2-4, I've never even heard of that game. Well, people don't like playing vanilla Mario. Don't know that. As vanilla Mario. Okay, sure. I got a new phone, by the way. Cool. Super Mario, not the regular Italian plumber who happens to be athletic. Okay. Anyway, guys, any other kind of final questions about this? Like I'm definitely not the gamer I used to be, that's for sure. But, like I have a Wii 2 and I have a PS4, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of where I am in the universe. And I still have my Wii U.
But you got a Switch, no?
What's
Didn't
that?
you get the Switch?
I got the
Didn't you
Switch
get the?
too.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah, I got the Switch too.
that's not nothing.
It's not nothing. Yeah. I actually got it just for Pac-Man World 2, just for the release, actually. I was like, just thought. Anyway, and I haven't bought a new console since, and the PS4 I didn't even buy. Phoebe Joy gave it to me. She gave it to me. Yeah. What's your question, Kiwi? Go ahead. Yeah, so anyway, but I have played Resident Evil 4. I think I'm on round 14 now of professional mode. So like I have, it literally like,
Wow.
it just gets to the point where I had to throw away my OP weapons because it just wasn't fun anymore. Especially with the Chicago typewriter, because the damage is like 99 and the speed is like ridiculous. Like basically you don't need any bombs, no weapons of any kind. You just literally just on any boss and the boss is dead in like seconds. And yeah, I literally sold all my OP weapons because I thought it's not really fun anymore.
Right. The question was, will you remaster Pitfall 3D?
Ooh, well, that's a great question. Short answer, yes. Long answer, I'm not sure. Okay, so look, I would remaster like the boss fights and the cutscenes because those were all WAV files. There's no way of remastering. It's literally impossible to actually remaster the in-game music. I mean, I suppose what I could do is I could sort of maybe upgrade the sounds or something. And I did keep high resolution versions because everything had to get downsampled to like 11 kilohertz and 22 kilohertz because the bandwidth wasn't there. Yeah, the Chicago typewriter, it is called the OP Tommy gun. Yeah, it's called the Chicago typewriter is the actual name of the weapon. But yeah, it ruins the fun. It's no longer fun when you have those weapons. So I sold them all. And so the answer is yes, because I actually looked at the some of the cutscenes from Pitfall 3D, and I looked at the main title theme. Okay, fuck it. I gotta listen to it. Sorry, I gotta hear it now because I did not do it justice. So I'm not such a good singer as if any of you have listened to my solo album, you'll know. I'm self-deprecating, but deservedly deservedly. How do you say that word?
Deservedly.
Deservedly.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I really don't think I'm such a. All right, here we go. So out of self-deprecation into the Pitfall Suite. Here we are. I really like this. Anyway, you'll hear the Indiana Jones influence. Anyway, that's enough of that. But you can really hear that Indiana Jones inspiration. So I would redo that. I would definitely do that. But like I said, it's literally impossible to do a remaster, because remember that all that music is different. Every time you play the game, you get a different soundtrack. Do you see why it would be impossible? Like, just not possible, you know? I don't know any way I could do it, you know? I literally can't think of any way to do it. So, but I could remaster, yeah, the Pitfall Suite and the cutscenes and whatnot. So, because that's a good Score that way anymore, guys. Like, I don't have it I can't do that anymore. It's so weird. Anyway, it was really funny because that Scourge music, the villain's music, for lack of a better word, where is it? They had a bonus level, right? The Surfer Slide. It was called the Surfer Slide, the Scourge Surf Slide, actually. And they wanted me to take the villain's theme but make it like 50s surf music. It works. It's like a little contradiction vibe. Anyways, mentioning that, like, I came up with guys like Bill Brown and Mike Reagan, and that was Mike Reagan on the guitar, actually. I hired him to
Oh shit.
play.
Okay.
Yeah. And he, I mean, I don't know what he's up to now, but he was doing some pretty big stuff for a while. Bill Brown, I mean, he got huge in the industry, like really big. Um, and he also got it, like he did TV and, so anyway, but that, yeah, that was Mike Reagan on guitar. So Dial Samba everywhere. Anyway, yeah, they're nice guitars because that's Mike Reagan, and he got the tone, and I didn't do shit. He played. I mean, I wrote the theme obviously, but he got that amazing surf tone, and actually he had
Right.
this
Right.
like, sorry,
No, no, I was just saying, yeah, they
yeah, no,
they
anyway.
they really sounded great. Like all of a sudden, I was like, whoa.
Yeah, it's no, because the guy, I mean, Mike Reagan is just a genius. And by the way, I mean, he and I actually it was my gig, Draconis Cult of the Worm, but I brought him in. I helped him get started. By the way, I actually gave him lessons in composing. He was just a sound designer, and like I literally gave him a stack of like 20 CDs, and I said, start by listening to every one of these and know them by name if I ask you. And he apprenticed with me. Anyway, I brought him on to do co-write with me for Draconis Cult of the Worm, and then from there he, became very, very respected. And I don't know what his big achievements are, though. I don't know what he went on to do, but I know for sound design, I mean, he was one of the biggest sound designers in LA at the time. So I'm going to quickly, Mike Reagan music, and just a wonderful guy. I mean, he's such a beautiful guy. Um, just wonderful guy. And I'm just so curious now about him. American composer, songwriter, and music producer for film and television and video games. His work includes Powerpuff Girls, Chico Bonbon, Monkey with Tool Belt, and Bob's Boyle's Wow. Never even heard of those, but okay. I mean, the Powerpuff Girls I know.
Yeah, the Powerpuff Girls is
Yeah, that's
pretty
a pretty
big.
big thing. Oh, right. Elmo. Yes, he actually fucking won a Grammy for that, Elmo and Grouchland. Um, I think he worked with Sayuda Garrett on that. And because he wrote the song, actually. There's a wonderful story behind the song, in fact. I remember him writing it. And yeah, I think he won actually like a Grammy or an Oscar or something like that. He won like one of the top awards for that song.
Wow.
Yeah, won a Grammy Award for Best Children's Soundtrack. Yep. Yeah. I remember. I remember when he won, and I was just like, dude, man, you're legit now. You're gonna fucking blow the fuck up. And you know, I gotta say, I'm a little surprised though that he didn't do even more. Especially in the game side. I thought he did a lot more, but. And by the way, we went to Berkeley together, and so yeah, we all came up around the same time. Composer discography, Powerpuff Girls, okay, a whole bunch of stuff. Let's see. Okay, video games. All right, no, he's done. Xena Warrior Princess NHL 2001. What? Okay, I also worked on that game. Twisted Metal Black, Final Four, Twisted Metal Small Brawl, Draconis Cult of the Worm, which he co-wrote with me. Brute Force, Rise to Honor, God of War. He worked on God of War. Okay, yeah. Anyway, yeah,
Nice.
he played guitar for me on that track. And a bunch of God of War. He worked on a bunch of the God of War stuff. All right. Very good. Yeah, so he's definitely had a successful career. And like I said, he deserves all his success because he's a very humble, true, wonderful, just lovely soul. And I still got love for him, man. He was one of my closest friends, in Los Angeles. And, like often happens, people have disagreements and, fall apart. And, we sort of stopped being friends. There was no any, there, well, he and I and this other guy had this game company, audio for games company, and one of the partners, won't mention his name, but, eventually Mike found out because when I left, I said, it's always going to be that guy show. And eventually, and I'm talking like 15 years later, he texted me and he said, "You're right. You were always right. It was always that guy's show." And because he never made us partners. He never made us partners. We started this company together. Well, actually, he started the company and Mike and I sort of joined, and he never gave us any partnership in the company. And I was just like, that's fucking bullshit, dude. I brought in X-Men Mutant Academy for the sound design. Brought in Draconis Cult. I was bringing in paying work, big paying work with Activision. Treyarch, it was their first game they ever did. And so I left. I was just like, this is, you're not giving us shares? Bye. And that sort of drove a wedge between Mike and I and the other guy. And it's a wedge that never healed, But years later, he did send me a message saying, "You were right. You were totally right about that situation. And you were right to leave." Anyway, he went on to do his own thing, and, and good for him, man, because let's put it this way. If he called me tomorrow and was like, "Logan, I love you still, man. You're awesome." I'd just I'd cry if I heard from him again. I love him, man, because he's a beautiful, beautiful soul. Anyway, I think that's probably all for today, I think.
I think we're good. Yeah.
Just quickly. Hold on one second here. I'm Googling the other guy whose name I didn't want to mention, really. Okay. Oh dear. Yeah, I mean, he did well too. Yeah, definitely not as many credits as Mike, and yeah, maybe about, well, yeah. Anyway, guys, people are complicated, man. People are complicated. Right. Relationships are complicated. It's always best to just communicate directly and honestly with people. And Bobby's been a partner for about a year now, and I've always been clear, open about, everything and, anything. And I don't think I've done anything sorry, I'm just going to close this window here, to misguide you or mislead you, or, I've been very clear about everything, yeah, because it's like, people, one of my favorite sayings is, the illusion of communication is that it has been achieved. So we think we communicate perfectly something to someone, but then it's not, it wasn't what they thought, So anyway, it is what it is. Life is complicated, always has been, always will be. Anyway, anything else, Bobby, before we wrap it up?
I think we're good. Yeah.
Holy cow, that was another epic stream.
Yeah.
Anyway, I appreciate all of you. Thank you all for coming every week. And yeah, as far as like bringing you guys on the stream and all that stuff, I'm not 100% sure about that now. I will go on your streams, but how did I meet Bill Brown? We were both in-house staff composers at a very big and very famous Hollywood sound and music company. And Mike Reagan was a resident sound designer at that company. And same with the other guy, that other partner that wouldn't give me shares that I left. We all were at Sound Design, this other company. I don't even know if I want to mention the company actually, because that was another really weird situation. And one day I might tell that story, and I always leave their name out of it. But they were primarily a sound design company that broke into the music space. And Bill and I were both hired as in-house composers. Okay, want to hear another great example of LA and LA culture? So we were on the top floor of the 7080 or 7060 Hollywood Boulevard. So this would have been the corner of La Brea and Hollywood Boulevard. And top floor, and they gave me the corner office, and Bill had the office next door that was not the corner office. And they told me, I'm the head writer, but don't tell Bill. That's total Hollywood culture right there. That's the culture of Hollywood. You know, you're the head writer, but don't tell Bill. Politicking, game playing. So, and you know, look, Bill Brown is unbelievably talented. Like, but I think he's a very safe play composer. You know what I'm saying? Like I always feel in his work that he doesn't have the beat, if you will, you know?
Okay.
He doesn't have that grit and that edge. He's a very like classical. He's a very classical and safe. Everything he does is safe, you know? Don't get me wrong. I mean, the guy is amazing. He's a super talent. And of all of the guys who came up together, me and Mike and Bill, there's a couple others, some I won't mention their names because, you know, it didn't go so well. But of all of us, the most successful of all of us would be Bill Brown by far. He became like a superstar, you know. And, you know, he, you know, you know what? I'll just leave it at this. He is a deeply honest and decent person. I can say that about him, along with Mike. But Mike has something else that is so special. He's such a beautiful person, and but you know, Bill and I were in competition, you know. And look, you know, oh man, this is it's. See, I can't go any further talking about this unless I tell the whole story, and I'm not doing that right now. And I don't know that I
We
want
can
to.
save it for another day.
I don't know that I ever want to, though. That's the weird part, you know,
Right.
because you know you're talking about other people and their lives, and I don't want to do that. You know,
Yeah, that's
it's not my place. You
right.
know, it's my place to tell my story. But if I ever did tell the story, sort of how things went for me in Hollywood, then you'd know exactly who and what I was talking about. So in some ways, I can't
Right.
really ever talk about it, which sucks because you know what, I have nothing bad to say about Bill. Literally nothing bad about him or his personality. Nothing, you know. But of the two of us, you know, let's just say, I won more accounts for the guys who hired us, you know. I got in bigger jobs and won more demo bids. So, anyway, it's fine. It's all good, as they say. You know, it's all good in Hollywood. Anyway, fuck, it's such a weird part of my life, man. You know, because like I said, we were all coming up together in our mid to late 20s and all trying to make a name for ourselves. You know, and yeah. And people do what they have to do to survive, and I don't blame them at all. But, you know, I guess I never played by those rules, and I never felt comfortable with them. And I never, let's just say some of my biggest clients disappeared one day and then wound up on the credit lists of some of the people I came up with. Let's just leave it at that. No? And I think you can fill in the gaps. But, and I don't, like I said, like, I love Mike. I was never really close with Bill, you know, because we were sort of pitted against each other by the overlords, if you will. And you're the head writer, but don't tell Bill, you know, that kind of shit. You know, it's like, well,
Right.
why would you even call me the head writer then? You know, Oh, well, because you win more accounts. You know, it's an evil system, you guys. And when you're playing, it's like if you want to go to Las Vegas and win money, you got to bet chips. It's the only way it works. And if you're going to go to Hollywood, you got to play the game. You got to bet chips, you know. And some people are willing to bet more, and I wasn't willing to bet. I wasn't willing to lose friendships over work. And by the way, that's partly why I did not succeed, you know, on the level that I could have and know I could have done, you know. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
it's a very strange part of my life, and I don't even know if I want to put this stream up. It's kind of ending on a really depressing note. So
Well, it's up now.
let's maybe we'll just like leave it at that.
Sure.
So, guys, I'm happy now though. I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life, you know. Especially because my Super Jupiter's arriving next week. Woo woo! I really hope it's ready for the next stream.
Yeah, we can all check it out.
Sorry it was so epic, everybody, but you know, sometimes I just ramble on. Bobby, thank you as ever for being my Microsoft co-pilot.
Oh, shit.
You see the CEO of Microsoft saying, "Please don't call us Microslop anymore." Like,
Yeah.
you wanna basically
slop.
double the amount of times people are using the phrase Microslop. Just go out there and say, "Please don't call us Microslop." Why would you do that? That's literally like asking people to do it.
Right.
And please, can you start using AI, because nobody's using it and we've spent so much money and now we're losing money. Whole other can of worms. I appreciate all of you guys too. Thank you. Very great stream, honest stream, sincere, and because this button doesn't work any other way, a very authentic stream. All right. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you, everybody else. And like I always do say, I think the purpose of life is to find some purpose in life. And I think the meaning of life is to find some meaning in life. And every time I stream, always there's just a few little comments that come in after I end the stream, and I always feel guilty. So I'm just gonna, actually, guilt is a useless emotion. It used to bother me that the little Pac-Man was behind the, but now I love it. It's like a little Pac-Man peering around the corner. Right. I love it. All right. Very good stream. Really fun. Fantastic stream. Okay, great. Excellent. Everybody take care, and I will see you all next week. And hopefully I'll have my Jupiter.